Today we will study Tao Te Ching, chapter 18 together. The title is Observing the Genuine. I thought this one is a noun, but later on I also searched online. This can be a noun too. So the title can be Observing the Genuineness or Observing the Genuine. So that's what we are going to study today. Before we begin, let's study the chapter title. So the chapter title is called Observing the Genuine. What does Lao Tzu want us to observe? First of all, we can analyze the title in two aspects. First one is this one, and this one is the second one. Let's start from the first one. That is to maintain our original Tao, to keep it the way it is. And unfortunately, because we come to this physical realm, we have so many things that cover us. And the important task is to remove the excess, such as greed, aversion, anger, ego, attachment. And very important, we need to identify our false self, which is the small self, because false self is totally different than our true self. Our body is made out of two cells. So we need to identify when our thought comes on. Is this my true self talking, or is this my false self talking? And most of the time, we understand in our daily living, a lot of time the false self will speak louder than the true self. So it's very important to watch our thought. Which one does it come from? Another aspect is to discover and recover what we have before. So discover, it's something that we already have. And same thing for this word, recover. We are all given from the Heavenly Mother that we have this true self, or you can call it the inner self. In Buddhism, the Buddhism teaching use the term Buddha nature, or we can use the term purity. In Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu use the term Tao. It really doesn't matter which term it's used, but it's about our genuine, our original self. So chapter 16 talks about returning to the root. Lao Tzu explained about how to recover our true self very well in this chapter, returning to the root. If we are going to grow crops, we have to wait until the crops to mature, and then we cut the crops. And how do we know if the crop is mature? We can tell that inside of the shell of the crop, there's this little seed. When we see that this seed resembles the mother seed, then this is the time the crops has returned to the root. So if the crop is cut before its maturity, then the crop is being wasted, right? Being a farmer, we want to wait until the crop reach the maturity, then we can harvest. So if we cut the crops before the maturity, then the crops is total wasted. So talking about human, if we don't return to our root, if we don't recover or discover our inner self, what's the purpose of our life? What's the purpose of we come to this physical realm? If we take our last breath, and we have not discovered our Tao, discover our true self, our inner self, and we take our last breath, that means our life is wasted. This is the two aspects in analyzing the chapter title. Here, I want to point out to you that at one time, Confucius say, the master, this is referred to Confucius. He say, now filial piety is the root of all virtue, and the stem out of which grow all moral teaching. Sit down again. So here Confucius is teaching his disciple what is filial piety. So he continue on. Sit down again, and I will explain the subject to you. Our body, to every hair and bit of skin, are received by us from our parents, and we must not presume to injure or wound them. This is the beginning of filial piety. So from this paragraph, if we focus on the highlighted one, we understand Everything that we receive from our biological parents is precious, and we want to keep it the way it is. And this is what our parents want. So this is talking in terms of our physical body. So keeping the physical body in the original shape is important. Imagine we have kids serving the military. If your children tell you, oh, mom and dad, I got hurt, the first question we will ask is, what happened to you? Meaning, are you missing the arm or a leg? What happened to your eyes? What body part are you missing? That's what most parents will ask, right? And what if we are involved in a car accident and we have the ability to call our parents? And if we say, Mom, I got into a car accident, and our parents, the first thing would come out from their mouth is, are you okay? Physically, are you okay? What about your body part? When our parents give birth to us, or some of us are parents here, when we give birth to our children, I am sure most parents, when they see their child, first of all, they don't look at the gender. They look at if the baby has missing limbs, if the arms or the legs are missing, ears, and then look in the genital part. So having the physical body part is very important. And also hospital bed. If we have our elder parents in the hospital bed and you are living in other country or out of state, and then they are dying and they hope to see you, but you are far away and they want to see you come to visit them. So when you come to visit them, they would want to see your whole body part, right? So it's very important to keep our wholeness. This is the physical appearance. But in terms of our spirituality, because I say that our being is made out of two parts, the false self, which is the bodily part. The other side is the true self, which is the spiritual part. So the spiritual part is bestowed from our Heavenly Mother. So the true self, sometimes we call it the Buddha nature, the Tao, or the conscience. These true self are given from our Heavenly Mother. So last week, one of our participants asked, what is Heavenly Mother? So Heavenly Mother is the same term as Heavenly Father, Elohim, Yahweh. I look in the internet, the term of God has, I think, more than 33 names or 100 names, depends on the language. So the name of God does have a lot of names, but we can kind of separate them because in the Western society, they call the God as male, like the Heavenly Father. But in the Tao perspective, Lao Tzu called the Heavenly Mother. A lot of Westerners don't understand why is it called the Heavenly Mother. And that's because the Heavenly Mother have the ability to procreate. Now, some people will challenge, how can a mother procreate without the father? And that's true. A mother cannot create without a father. But think about carrying a baby. Who can carry a baby? Only a mother can. The father cannot. So you can see from Tao Te Ching in several chapters, Lao Tzu used the term mother a lot instead of father. So this is the difference between the mother and the father in terms of God's perspective. So our true self is bestowed from our Heavenly Mother, and it cannot be resisted. Have you been asked, why do you want to practice Tao? Why do you want to go to church? Or why do you want to go to temple? Well, it's because we want to get to know our true self. And sometimes we see that going to the temple and then going to the church or going to synagogue or going to monastery, it helps us to find our true self. So since the true self is bestowed to us, it's important to maintain its integrity, its wholeness. We don't want anything to be chipped off. It should not have any defect. our true self is missing some integrity, or it's being stained, or it's defective. So we want to keep its purity. Therefore, it's important to return the true self in its original form, in its original purity, to our Heavenly Mother when we take our last breath. But in Chinese, there is an old saying, those who obey the mandate of heaven will prosper, while those who defy it will perish. So we can look at the sentence in two perspectives. In other words, when we obey the heavenly mandate, that means we follow the natural law, and we follow our true self, and we acknowledge our true self, and we cultivate, we practice upon it, and when we walk on this spiritual path, we will find that our life is much more fulfilled, and we feel that our life has purpose, and we feel joy in our life. On the other hand, there are some people who does not want to cultivate. Who cares about God? Sometimes we hear people say that, I don't need to practice Tao. I don't need to worship God. I am who I am. The Bible says, I am who I am. Everyone is God. So why do I need to practice Tao or practice any religion or practice anything at all? So those people are against cultivation, or they are experiencing the moral degradation, moral erosion, and they will experience spiritual deficiency. And when it comes to that stage, but those who defy it will definitely suffer from reincarnation and suffer from their physical life. So in this chapter, Lao Tzu say it's important to observe the genuine, and it's very important to follow it. As a Tao cultivator, Lao Tzu reminds us not to recognize the external embellishment, the external names. So now we have a problem, because Lao Tzu say in chapter 2, existence and non-existence forget each other. This part is the genuine part, and this is the external part. But in order for the Tao to manifest, we really need the external part, right? So that's why in chapter 2, Lao Tzu say existence and non-existence forget each other. The essence of Tao is no use if it does not manifest. Nameless must be manifest through the name. So if I have a lot of knowledge and I just keep it to myself, there's no use, right? If I say I'm such a good person, Joanna is such a good person, but I don't use my hand, I don't manifest through my behavior, then my good heart has no use. And what about we all set a goal, something that we can achieve, but we don't do anything to it, then it's also hopeless. Lao Tzu's point is that we have to focus on the genuine, but it requires some kind of manifestation. Confucius say that propriety is very important when we want to cultivate, when we want to develop our good character and develop our integrity. So here is another quote from the Confucius. The master say, without recognizing the ordinance of heaven, it's impossible to be a superior man. Without an acquaintance with the rule of propriety, it's impossible for the character to be established. So Confucius say it's important to have this ritual. It's important. However, now the society is using this ritual or the propriety as a scam or twist the name of the virtue. You can see in the picture here, two persons are shaking hands and they are so nice to each other. And both of them wear a mask, but behind them, do you see they hold knife? Isn't that scary? So being polite is necessary in our society, and this is based on Confucius' teaching. But if we see somebody who is too polite and who is too nice, who is too kind, sometimes we feel this person must be a scammer. And then the red flag comes out. because we don't know if this person is wearing a mask. We don't know if the person is using the name of virtue to disguise their evil. Somebody who flatter you, don't really know if they are going to stab you on your back. The purpose of this chapter, Lao Tzu point out that in this physical realm, all the beings need to have names, such as propriety. Propriety is good, but so far, some people have misused it, and ritual, some people have misused it, and teaching. Have you ever seen some teacher, they have misbehavior, like a teacher scandal in high school that you see on YouTube? Some teacher have misappropriate conduct with their high school student, and also books. Some say some teaching are good, but some teaching are being disguised. So it's something that we really need to watch out for. And the problem is what is manifested or what is named and what is seen are being twisted and misused. Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu have a similar teaching. Those who have propriety as disguise is a sign of scarce of royalty and trust. This is the beginning of chaos. The subject or the purpose of this chapter is that Lao Tzu wants us to not be scammed by the appearance. And also, as a Tao practitioner, we do not want to cultivate on the external. In other words, when we talk to somebody, when we are being polite, we don't want to wear our mask, such as this two person here, and we don't want to carry a knife in our back. We want to be genuine. We want to reveal our true self. So that's the purpose of this chapter. It's just 4 lines, very simple. Okay, so when we look through this chapter, we should study these 2 verses together, and then these 2 together. And notice that here I put down, when the great Tao declines, benevolence and righteousness appear. These are referring to the fake benevolence and the fake righteousness. And same thing for this one. When wisdom rises, this is talking about cleverness, scheme, tactic. That's why I put a quote. When great Tao decline. Notice that here I put in the parenthesis, because the great Tao will not decline. It's the environment that decline. So do you remember that when we studied chapter 17? The Tao does not decline, but it's the environment will. So it's important to keep that in mind. So to further understand the sentence, it's better to understand what I paraphrase. As morality decline. I'm sorry, I should put an S right here. Right, okay. Benevolence and righteousness. Notice I put quote on these 2 words. So the virtue are being recognized and rewarded, become the substitute. Virtue's name are being wrongfully used. So when we look at this sentence, Lao Tzu is talking about benevolence and the righteousness, but the virtue does not stop here. There are so many virtues. What about trustworthiness, propriety, integrity, honesty, and compassion, love, and kindness? Have you ever seen fake love? This also falls into this category too. So, but Lao Tzu just used this 2 as an example. Have you ever received some kind of text? It says that your Amazon account is being stolen, it's being charged with certain amount. You have to call this number to get clarified. And then when you call back and that person say, how can I help you? And then you say your problem, and the person on the other line will say, oh, I'm here to help you. Please trust me. So they are really using the name trust to disguise their scheme. So we see that a lot. And also sometimes we see on the news, it used to be that some electrician or a fake electrician, they wear an Edison uniform and they go in to visit elders. They act so kind, and then they knock on the door. Hello, so-and-so, I see that your electricity bill go up. Can I go to your house to check what's wrong? Maybe you have some leaking in your plug or whatever. So the elder will allow this person to come in, and this person will act so nice. This is where the tragedy begins. So things like this. So this is where Lao Tzu want to point out the name, the virtue, when it's being recognized. When somebody say, I'm so nice, I'm here just to help you. I'm here to help you to reduce your Edison bill. I'm here to help you to solve your credit. I'm here to solve your credit card issue. I have a friend who called me, hey, Joanna, what do I do? My social security account is being stolen. And this person is trying to help me, and I need to give out my birthday, my address, credit card number, this and that. And they claim to be helping my friend. So I say, can you put it on three-way calling? So then on the other side, I hear their conversation. I say, do not give anything to this person. So this verse is talking about when it's being recognized and it's being substituted as the great Tao. This is where the Tao decline. Let's go back to chapter 17. Practice Tao without awareness. So this is what we should do, or what we should practice. When we want to do something good, we just do it. We care more about the process, not the result. Not to be complimented, not to be rewarded. And you see, this one is being rewarded. If we focus much on the name, that becomes the substitute. So when something is being substituted, your genuine Tao no longer exists. And you see that this picture here, again, when something is being substituted, the genuine no longer exists. This is the fresh air cane from Canada that they sell this cane to the people in China, because the people in China, they don't have a fresh air. So they buy fresh air cane from Canada. So 3 years ago, each can, I think, can only last for 8 minutes. And it's $15 a can. So why do people want to buy this? That's because something genuine no longer exists. And nowadays, how many of you have water filter system? We all have, right? And why do we use the water filter system? And that's because our water is no longer genuine. So when something is being substituted or being replaced, then the genuines no longer exist. On the top of the stair here, this is the genuines. Practicing Tao without awareness. I always want to do something. I want to do something to help people. But if in back of my mind, I say, oh, I want to be praised, I want to be complimented, or I want to be well known, then this is when my Tao practice decline. So when somebody say, I'm going to help you, please trust me. Sometimes you have to give a second thought. Does this person want to scare me? So it's something that we have to pay attention. Diamond Sutra, chapter 10, Shakyamuni Buddha talks about something very similar. And so, Saputi, Bodhisattva and Mahasattvas will give rise to a pure mind that is not attached to form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dharma. The mind should act without any attachment. So as soon as we give it a name, as soon as we want to be rewarded, then we fall into the syndrome of being attached. So Shakyamuni Buddha say it very well. So this is the 6 ways that we can get attached. The forms, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dharma. So let's start with forms. Are we attached to form? When I do something, do I want to be recognized? And is it because that I do something so that I will reach a higher status, so that other people can admire me? And what about the sound? Do I want to be praised? Do I want to be complimented? And what about the smell? Smell in the traditional way, it's related to flowers, but nowadays we can translate that as being offered with gift. If I help you, do I expect some kind of gift from you? Whether it's gift card, a big screen TV, or a cell phone, or something. What is my intention of doing something good to you? What is my intention that I want to help you? What kind of mind I have? And then the taste, indulgence in food. Do I feel proud or so much pride when I'm eating something? Am I eating something just to sustain my physical life? Or am I eating something that I really, really enjoy it? And I feel that what I eat is better than your plate? What I order, it's more expensive than yours? And next one is touch. It has to do with our body. That is our living style. Is my living style better than other people? I'm driving a luxury car. What kind of car do you drive? Do you drive Tesla? And I only drive Civic, or the other way around. I live in a bigger house than you do. And mine is a 2-story home. Yours is only 1 story. My house right now is worth $1 million. What about yours? And then what kind of furniture do we have? It's very common that when we go to visit our friends and we value our friends' living environment based on their furniture and what kind of house they live in. So it's very common. And then sleeping. Have you ever seen the modern sleeping mattress? It's so expensive, the Tempur-Pedics, which is $6,000 a piece. I don't think I can afford it. But those people who can afford it, do you think that you really need it? There are some people who need it medically, and that's fine. So this is just an example. Are we comparing our living style with other people? What about Dharma? Our speech. When we talk, what's our intention? Are we preaching other? Are we just want to share the Tao Te Ching with others? Are we sharing information so that I know and I want to share with you? So by the end of the day, your knowledge will be the same as mine. We try not to commend others. Sometimes maybe when we study certain literature or certain texts, we feel that we know more. And when we know more, are we feeling that we are in a higher position? So a lot of time, we will fall into this category of attachment. So Shakyamuni Buddha said it's important to give rise of our pure mind. And this pure mind is not attached to all of this. Because our body comes with our senses, right? We have our eyes to see, we have ears to hear, we have nose to smell, tongue to taste, and our body to move around. So we all have these senses: form, sound, smell, taste, touch, dharma. But what is our intention? Are we attached to all this? And here I want to explain to you about the Sappuri, Bodhisattva, and Mahasattvas. What's the difference between Bodhisattva and Mahasattva? Bodhisattva, it's a general term. It's a general term which includes Mahasattva. So a Mahasattva is a great Bodhisattva who has practiced Buddhism for a long time, and it has reached a high level of Bodhisattva. So imagine Bodhisattva is like this range, and Mahasattva will be the one in the very top. And the one, if Mahasattva can surpass his or her realm, then that will be in the realm of Buddhahood. So it's very important when we read any kind of scripture or Tao Te Ching or the Diamond Sutra, when it's referred to Sappuri, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, or good men and good women, think about the Buddha is talking to us. So Buddha says, Joanna, or Mark, or Robert, or Peter, give rise to a pure mind that's not attached to all of this. So if it's not attached, then you can act without attachment. How many of us, when we do something, we cling to that attachment. I remember there are times that I give monetary donation to the temple, and then I give a check to our master, and after the giving, I'm still thinking about it for a couple of months. And occasionally I remember it, and I say, I cannot remember it. So that's something that I need to work on. So when we give a donation, and it can be in three forms: the monetary donation, when we can give the speech of Tao, or when we give the effort, we try not to be recognized. So it's important. In the Diamond Sutra, chapter 5 and chapter 26 talks about the similar ideas. The Tathagata teaches that physical appearance are actually not physical appearance. The Buddha say to Sapudi, all appearance are illusory. To see that appearance are not appearance is to see Tathagata. So here in the physical appearance, it's similar to what Lao Tzu is talking about, the names, the form, the virtue. When you see the mirror that you created, it's actually not a mirror. And the Buddha say to Sapudi, all the mirror that you created are illusionary. To see the mirrors is not the appearance, it's the time that you see the Tao. Or we can paraphrase with this. When you see something that's not a physical appearance, when you see me, do you see my physical appearance, or do you see my true self? Of course, you see my physical appearance through your eyes, but if you can see my true self, you will love me very much. And you will love everybody who you hate. Anybody that you see, do you see their physical appearance, or do you see their true self? Because all the appearance are illusionary. This is talking about the false self. All the false self are illusional. So when we see the false self, it's not the false self, but we can see the true self behind the false self. This is the time that we see Tathagata. This is a difficult term, Tathagata. That means Buddha. Here the first one means Buddha. The Buddha teach that physical appearance. And then the last one, it's referring to the inner Buddha and the genuineness. Buddha is referring to the inner nature or the inner Buddha. It's equivalent to Confucius' teaching of benevolence. And it's equivalent to Lao Tzu's teaching of Tao and the inner being. Okay, so here on this sentence is talking about we need to differentiate the true self and the false self. And here, Diamond Sutra 26, those who see me in form or seek me through sound are on the mistaken path. Because if we see the Buddha in the form, in the name of the false self, or seek him through the false self, because these two verses is about the false self. When we see everything and when we hear everything with the false self, with the form, the sound, the touch, the physical sensation, those people will be on the mistaken path, and they will not see the Tao. To summarize this verse, the great Tao decline. Lao Tzu is talking about the fake benevolence. He is not denying the real benevolence, but because the name already come about, there will be fake benevolence accompanied with it. And same thing for the righteousness. And therefore, there will be misuse for all the virtuous name. Merit is being abused, and the term of beauty is also being disguised to greed, ego, and selfishness. This is not just in the Christian term. It also happened in the Buddhist monastery and also the Tao too. It's happened everywhere. This one should be religious leader. Religious leaders are accused of sex abuse or financial scandal under the name of spiritual development or men of God. You see how terrible it is? So this is what Lao Tzu tried to point it out. this verse echo with chapter 1. The Tao that can be told is not an eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not an eternal name. So anything that has been named, we have to be aware and we have to be careful, because we don't know if this person is being polite or if this person wants to scam us. And of course, as a Tao practitioner, we want to reveal our true self. We want to present our true self when we deal with others. The second one is when wisdom rises, great hypocrisy appears. Here, Lao Tzu used the term wisdom. Lao Tzu's terms on wisdom is very different than the wisdom that we know. He's being, how should I say it? A lot of time when Lao Tzu talk about knowledge or wisdom, he does not really mean knowledge or wisdom. He means something else. So knowledge in Lao Tzu's mind, it's the fake knowledge, the knowledge to scam people, anything that's evil, that somebody misused the knowledge. That's what Lao Tzu meant. So here, Lao Tzu's usage on wisdom is not really the wisdom in the Buddhism term. He meant cleverness, deliberation, tactics, scheme, conspiracy, deception. This is all Lao Tzu's perception or Lao Tzu's connotation on wisdom. On the other hand, when you read Buddhism's scripture, you have to shift your mind to interpret what does wisdom mean. So the real wisdom is knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence, and prajna paramita, that when we read the Heart Sutra, when we read the Diamond Sutra, it helps us to recover and retrieve our prajna paramita. And that is willingness to discover and follow the universal law or our true nature. That's the definition of wisdom, and cultivate and manifest ourselves. In other words, wisdom means something that can help us to enrich our soul, enrich our spirituality, and we can also share with others so that other people can also be enriched with us. This is very important when we see wisdom in Tao Te Ching and when we see in Buddhism's scripture. And here, on the second term that I want to explain is that these two words here. The first one is Da, that means large or great, huge. Second one means lie, cheat, pretend. This is, it has all the negative connotation. So when you combine these two together, it means a very serious, sinful deviation from Tao. It's totally against our true nature. This is what our Heavenly Mother do not want us to do. And when we do it, we are committing a great, huge mistake, because that is moral degradation and it's our wrongdoing. And when we do so, it's a huge destruction for ourselves, because we are hurting ourselves, we are destroying our genuineness, and we are destroying our purity, we are staining ourselves, and at the same time, we are also hurting others. So here is a few examples that I give. We sometimes receive call from Amazon Social Security Administration that they claim they want to help us. And these people on the other line, they do have great wisdom. They are very smart, but they use their intelligence in an evil way. And the second one is frequently we receive email and sometimes package scam from Nigeria about inheritance. I received several of them and I just ignore the email. We also see the wisdom being misused in politicians, election candidates, on some speakers and on some writers too. Here I want to talk about the etymology of Zi. I think this word is important. Zi, as you can see, it's knowledge and wisdom, and Zi is made out of 3 characters. This one, and this one, it means arrow. As you can see, this on the top is the arrowhead, which has a very sharp point. And this one is feather. And later on, it transformed into this shape. And this character is Yu, which is sun. It's a symbol of sun. As you can see, the transformation from here to here and to this symbol here. And this is the modern caricature of sun. So when you combine these three characters together, first of all, the arrow, someone who has familiar and who has full, precise, sharp understanding on something. So when we talk about arrow, we like to think about it's something that it's right on the target. It's very precise. It's not deviate to the left or not deviate to the right. It's right straight to the center, right straight to the point. And then this one is to express. And this one, of course, it means the sun. Sun means to illuminate self and others. When you compose these three characters together, it means wisdom, someone who has good wisdom. When six kingships disharmonize, filial piety and compassion appear. So the sixth kingship, it means six blood relationship or family connection. Sixth kingship has two definitions. One is the narrow definition, which include the father, the mother, brother, sister, spouse, and children. And if you count this, it's six. But some people have a broader perspective on the kingship, and that include the grandfather, the grandmother, the uncle, the auntie, the nephew, and the niece, and all the in-law. So when six kingship disharmonize, what does that mean? It means the father supposed to be a father, but the father is not acting like a father. And the mother is not a mother because the mother is not compassionate. The mother does not look like a mother. She's mean, maybe evil, vicious. Father is lazy, not responsible. And the children is not respectful. Children talks back to the parents, and the sibling have constant fighting. So this is when the family is disharmonized. And when a family is in chaotic situation, filial piety and compassion appears. It means it stands out. I have a picture here. Filial piety and compassion, what's the difference? Filial piety is the attitude that the children has from the children to the parents. And compassion is the attitude that parents has or the senior has from the parents to the kids. So this is a difference. One is from top down and the other one is from bottom to top. So this sentence can be paraphrased as filial piety and compassion are inborn nature, does not need to reward or to be praised. But when filial piety is praised or showcased, that means the family is already in disharmony. Here's a story of Emperor Sun. The father is ignorant and he is favoring to his little son and not being righteous. And the mother is evil and vicious. Stepbrother has no respect and lazy and have much arrogance. And because of this, that's what makes Sun famous. He is living in totally disharmonized family, yet he is still following his inner nature and to practice filial piety. My question is, does other patriarchs also have filial piety? Yes, they do, but it's not in the record because throughout the Chinese history, no one has such a disharmonized family than Sun. That's what makes Sun so famous, being the #1 son of the filial piety.